Running late by say more than 45 minutes, I suppose now, so I should not take much of a time. Still, as chair, I need to wind up the discussions. I would not repeat whatever has been said by the panelists because everyone has a very exhaustive paper. Unfortunately, in sessions like this, we are constrained with time, so everyone is limited to say 10 minutes or 12 minutes presentation, which is in fact injustice to the work which the scholars do. And I really appreciate their patience in winding up their talk in 10 to 12 minutes. Nonetheless, I would request the audience, the scholars, to go through their detailed papers as and when they find time, so that their hard work is appreciated on a larger extent. We had very wide-ranging discussion, and culture is a subject where you go limitless. There is no limit to discuss about culture. But one thing which I always feel about culture is that geography divides and culture unites. So culture has the power to unite beyond the geographical borders, and that is why when we talk about culture, we forget about the geographical barriers between the countries. Why this is important for India and the Central Asia? Because the countries within Central Asia are in such a position that they have to depend upon culture. It's a blunt fact, and we must realize. Even when we talk about India, I always say that as a policy, we must put our best foot forward. And what is our best foot, by the way? If I ask you, what is your best foot? Are you a strong economy? Are you a strong military power? Are you a strong scientific power? No. We are a big cultural country. India is a great cultural country. So culture is my best foot forward. So we need to understand the importance of culture. It applies to almost all the countries of the Central Asia, because every country has its own past, and they have struggled in the past to come up to the expectations of the entire world and really fight for their existence in whatever manner they have. Some fought against colonialism, some fought against imperialism and something like that. But most of the countries have fought for their existence. So when you come through those struggle phases of life, definitely you want to put your best thing forward to maintain relationship. And I think most of the countries in the Central Asia must understand that this is the culture, and the strong cultural roots and connects between different countries. That only can make us stand and face the challenges of the world. The recent example someone has quoted of COVID is a striking example. A country like India, having 130 crores of population, fought against COVID, which was a disease, which was a pandemic, which was supposed to be spread through connections, through connect. And despite of having one of the biggest population density in the world, India fought against it only on the basis of its strong cultural roots. And that example was set. People predicted that during the COVID, India is going to be destroyed. But not only India stood firm, but it helped so many countries. India was the first country to provide vaccination to almost half of the population of the world. So that miracle happened only because we had these strong cultural roots. So we must understand that. And then we must put our things ahead and make the policies accordingly. Last year, now since this is 2023, if you recollect the Independence Day speech of our Honorable Prime Minister, he gave Panch Pran, 5 vows to the country to take forward to 2047, that is the 100 years of independence. And one of that major vow is decolonization. The importance of decolonization remains pertinent for all of us. Why? Because the colonial legacy still hover on our mind, and that is why the entire thought process in India is still either Eurocentric or American dominated. Why can't we think about our own neighbors who are in our close proximity, who has strong cultural linkages, who look like us, who speak like us, who sing like us, who dance like us? Why can't we get closer to them? Unfortunately, even in today's scenario, most of the students and youngsters, when they are asked an option to go for a higher studies, they would prefer either to go in a European university or in an American university. Why can't there be a strong cultural connection between the youngsters and students, learn about more about Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan or Uzbekistan or something like that? So those things we need to understand, especially when today India has the G20 presidency for 1 year. It is pertinent to know much more about our neighbors, think much more about our neighbors, and improve bilateral cultural relations and cultural exchanges between these two countries. As our honorable speakers have mentioned, we have so much similar in architecture, in literature, in visual and performing arts, in customs and in traditions. So many things are common. If we try to list them out, the list would become endless. At IGNCA, we are doing a small exercise where we are trying to bring out a dictionary with common words of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. That task which we are doing is enormous, but we are trying to do. Why? Because we want to bring all these countries together as far as India is concerned. So I would not emphasize in detail about whatever my honorable panelists have spoken, but one thing I would like to tell you, that rely on your cultural roots and they are going to take you forward. And for that, Central Asia is the best place to do this experiment and explore the possibilities. Thank you very much.